Adam Huczel is the creator and administrator of the Buffalo Soccer Alliance. This Facebook group originally started in 2021 when he got some of the former Buffalo Blizzard players on a Zoom chat to talk about the club, of course, who played indoor soccer at the Odd and HSBC Arena from 1992 to 2001. This Facebook group covers soccer-related news and stories on both current and former clubs across the Western New York region. Adam also manages game day ops and fan engagement for Buffalo Gunners FC and does some promotional work for the Buffalo Stallions as well. And we are pleased to be joined by Adam Huczel himself. Adam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Soccer Alliance in a second, but let's get the origin story here. Adam, you're from North Tonawanda. How did soccer capture your interest originally? Because I understand, Sportsplex was like basically a second home to you. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it was. So I actually had a family friend. I consider her an aunt pretty much. And she was involved when I was really little in the Delaware Soccer Club in Kenmore. And, through family and stuff, she always kind of encouraged me to play soccer. I didn't really have a family upbringing of it, but I started when I was 5 in the North Tonawanda, the Northtown House League, and just realized it was such a fun game, and I picked it up pretty quickly. And then within actually 2 years of me playing, my dad started coaching, not really knowing too much about the game, but he actually ended up coaching me up until I was late in middle school and ready to start playing for school. So it was really kind of cool to have him, be there the whole time. And it just coincided with the start of the Buffalo Blizzard. I started in 91, 92, and then the Blizzard started in 92 as well. So the Blizzard were just an awesome experience to have in Buffalo and really kind of push me in my interest of soccer, and especially the indoor game, which, today you don't hear a lot of people talk about how their initial pursuit was indoor soccer, but I actually grew up, 5 minutes from Sportsplex, was there a lot for our games, and the Buffalo Blizzard practice there. So it was just an experience that I grasped and just fell in love with at an early age.
How cool is that? And you got to see them practice. Many people don't even know that Sportsplex was their practice facility.
So at the time, it was actually Jim May was the owner of the building. He was obviously involved with the Buffalo Stallions previously, and then he became general manager of the Buffalo Blizzard. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but that's where they had their practices and kind of off arena training and stuff. Some like preseason stuff happened there. I know they used to have like an organized game against the Cleveland Crunch before the season started. So it was kind of interesting to see an NPSL soccer game at Sportsplex on the same field you're playing on. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Fast forward to 2021, and you've developed these relationships. You get them all on a Zoom call to kind of reminisce about old times. How cool!
Yeah, so I mean, my connection started later on, actually. So I played Buffalo Premier, and I had Ernie Buriano, who's a former Buffalo Stallion and Buffalo Blizzard player, as my head coach. We had Kevin O'Neill, who is on the board of the Buffalo Stallions now and was a former member of the Blizzard. He was an assistant there. Jim May helped out our club too. So I had built up some relationships just from being a player, to be honest with you. And then, with Facebook and nowadays with social media, just trying to gain access to, the players that are still, using social media enough. So actually, it was pretty ironic how the whole thing started with the Zoom call. So it was during COVID, and I actually just was doing a weekly kind of Zoom chat with some friends just to kind of kill time, just to kind of socialize. We were all stuck at home. And it eventually grew into kind of a running joke is we should see if we should get some celebrities on it. We had heard that like some celebrities and some popular people were kind of Zoom bombing, as you will,
Yep.
school chats and this and that. So we're like, hey, let's try to get some people we know on here. And a couple times into it, I just got this funny idea. I'm like, I should try to track down the Buffalo Blizzard players, and we can just do a Zoom chat. And a couple weeks of work, and using social media and seeing who I knew, and yeah, we ended up with about I want to say 8 or 9 players. And it was funny. It ran probably 4.5 hours.
Oh
Some
my
of them stayed
goodness.
some of them stayed for 20 minutes, some of them stayed longer, but it was hilarious for me, and I'm sure it was fun for those guys to be remembered and wanting to talk soccer and just kind of outlining their careers a little bit, telling some funny stories, and it just popped up from there. And then actually it was within the next couple days is when I set up the Buffalo Lions page, because my goal was actually to try to find more players, and we had found some fans that had kind of caught, I think, through some of the players that might have known some of the fans that I didn't know. They got connected with the Buffalo Soccer Alliance really early on and joined that. And all it was really meant to be originally was a group I designed to talk about the Blizzard, reminisce the Blizzard. And what's weird is it, not even knowing why I was doing it, it was also the 20th like anniversary, I guess you want to say, of the team holding, as it was in 20. So I was like, this is kind of a weird coincidence how it's all fallen into place now. But so yeah, the Buffalo Soccer Alliance actually just started out as a way for me to kind of connect with fans like me who enjoyed the Blizzard, trying to track down some more players, and it just kind of slowly grew. And now with soccer being a little bit more prominent here,
Mhm.
with Buffalo Pro starting, the Buffalo Stallions NPSL team, we have the Buffalo Gunners now, and kind of even shifting to talking about the Buffalo Stallions of the old MISL. It just the content was just there to keep it going and just to talk whatever we could about soccer.
Buffalo Soccer Alliance, after that, ended up taking off. And now you're at about, what, 1,500 members? That's just incredible.
Yeah. So I mean, with each of the teams, what's been nice is we've gotten a lot of support from them, and they're letting people know about it, and the tags that happen, the comments that come, people are just seeing it more and more and realizing what a great place it is just to generalize, have soccer be the main content of the page, and whether it's talking about collegiate level or some of our academy programs or any of the semi-pro teams we have. It's just an outlet where anyone can comment. Um, I'm the main admin, but I always encourage people to, post stories if they have them, talk about their experiences, and just have it grow from there, really.
And I love the whole concept, too, of yes, this is a perfect place for people who love soccer, people who are attached to the game, whether they're a coach, parents, youth soccer players. But at the same time, for example, I saw on the Facebook page that you were talking about basically a question came in that said, hey, what's the deal with the American soccer pyramid? There's tons of leagues out there. How do you
Yeah.
keep it all straight? And it's a great question because it is kind of confusing and it changes all the time, which just goes to show that your target audience isn't just for the soccer lovers. It's for random people in Western New York who might not know a ton about soccer, and you have the opportunity, Adam, to educate them.
Yeah, that's true too. And yeah, I mean that was just sort of the outdoor pyramid. What's funny is I'm actually going to be posting the indoor pyramid the women's pyramid, both indoor and outdoor too, just so people can understand it. We've had a lot of new teams come in within the last couple of years, and people wondering where they fall or how
Yep.
popular are they. And I think it's just really good to talk about, to explain these are the leagues that are out there. These are the local teams that we have. And to be honest, just for an example, like with the Buffalo Gunners, their former name was the Sahara Gunners, and people really didn't identify
Hmm.
that great with them, wondering where they were from, what was the attachment. So, just within this past month or so, they've actually rebranded their name to be called the Buffalo Gunners SC, and I think it puts them on the map a little bit more and makes them more identifiable locally, and in the arena league that they play in, to know where they're actually from and to represent the city a little bit better.
Buffalo Gunners FC, what a story. They are in the Major Arena Soccer League 3, and there's a couple different levels to that. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the MASL pyramid, it's three levels. So you have your MASL, just as its primary, it's honestly the biggest professional indoor soccer league we have in North America.
Wow.
And then they have a sub tier level two, which is kind of your, you know, minor league, if you want, if you will. And then below that is MASL three, the league the Gunners play in, and it's considered a semi-pro or professional development level. It's more sponsorship based.
Hmm.
There is a little, pay to play, but for the most part, it's recruitment, it's localized. There's 20 teams in MASL 3, so it does stretch a lot of the Atlantic coasts, the Great Lakes, and into kind of central South United States. There's as far as Texas, so it is an eastern side of the U.S. League. The higher level stretches from East Coast to West Coast. It's a little bit smaller of a league, but you're talking about the highest skilled level indoor players, um, really around the world in this league. And also, too, to note, there is another indoor league. It is the MLIS.
Mm.
That kind of rivals it in some ways. I'd like to think that their top level isn't quite MASL standards. They are considered pro, but it's League One, League Two. They're pretty equal and stuff. And I know MLIS is trying to build. Um, Both of them actually have a women's program too, which is cool. A lot of people don't know about. They were in Lockport. They were playing at the Kenan Center Arena. It's an older building, bare bone structures. We made it work the best we could. Um, Unfortunately, the age of the building and stuff is causing them to build a new facility, and the kind of sad part about it is the blueprints and designs for the brand new arena had already started taking shape before the Gunners started in MASL 3. And the new building is going to be the larger open style field.
Hmm.
So without the boards, they are going to be losing that location as a home field. Um, I know there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes to try to find an alternate location. We want to keep Buffalo and the Gunners here in Buffalo. We're looking at any option we can, and we do have a few ideas and some things on the table that we're looking at. Nothing's finalized just yet, but um, I know it's kind of a hush hush with the team manager Kogan Jalil at the moment, but
Hmm.
um, there is as of now a unofficial idea on the table that if it comes together should be good.
Okay. So, are there any interesting rules when it comes to indoor soccer? I don't know if there's like a 2 point line or anything crazy like that. Are there any interesting rules that are involved with the MASL?
Well, those familiar with the old Buffalo Blizzard and the NPSL league, would probably remember that there was a multi-scoring system to that. The leagues today don't have that. Everything's a one-point goal,
Hmm.
but it's a fast-paced game with the boards. Like you said, it has an element of play. The ball stays in play more. It's an exciting brand of soccer, and you definitely see a lot more goals scored in the indoor game versus the outdoor game. You were seeing MASL 3 games this year pretty consistently with a team scoring 20 plus goals. Actually, 30 was reached once by one of the other teams.
Wow.
Um, the average, you'll see scores in the teens a lot of times. So it's 4 15-minute quarters, and I
Mm.
mean it flies by, but it's an exciting brand. It's a fast game. And the Gunners have done a really good job working on fan engagement and keep making the game exciting. Just this year, they introduced a new mascot. We have the BFLO cheerleaders now that do routines between quarters. So we're trying to make it, as fan friendly as possible. We're making it kid friendly. We're trying to invite kids to the games. We've had kids play at halftime. We've had them out, at the start of the game for introductions, like you would see in some of the outdoor pro games. And then after the games, we've been doing an autograph signing that they can meet some of the guys. So um, I mean, the players' names aren't quite as familiar yet with the community and stuff, but that's really what we're working on is to get the Gunners' identity a little more out there in the community so people are aware of them. And, over time, we hope that, some of the mainstay players kind of grow an identity for the city and kind of grow familiarity with fans. Um, right now, we're averaging around 200, 300 people a game.
Wow.
Um,
Hmm.
and so it's something to build on, for
Yeah.
sure.
You've kind of covered the in-game entertainment, and really shows just how much that the Buffalo Gunners are putting into this club, which makes it incredible. Brings people out.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to take elements of things we know, things that we've seen in the past. Obviously, we know we're not a professional soccer team.
Hmm.
We know we don't have, millions of dollars of income, but, we're
Hmm.
doing what makes fans show up to the games. And actually, these past 2 seasons, we've actually offered free admission. We don't charge anyone. It's really just been about trying to grow in a new concept. A lot of people don't really remember the Blizzard much, so
Hmm.
just trying to bring that indoor game back to Buffalo, get people to understand what the game's about. And even before we had the cheerleaders, before we had the mascot, uh, the Lockport community and the Lockport Soccer Club kind of connected with us. And as talk started happening that this is a fun game to watch, it caught on, and we were able to kind of reach out to some other youth clubs to say, hey, bring your kids. It's a fun time. It's a good game. And we've had now, I think, 5 or 6 different youth clubs that come. So you're talking not only the players, but the parents, family, friends that want to come watch them as well. So just
Yeah.
game by game, we're able to grow that little bit.
Speaking of the Blizzard, I have so many memories of going to those games at HSBC Arena. It was at the time,
Yeah.
and one of my favorites is I gotta mention Spike. Spike was incredible. The mascot, he'd come out on the ATV
Yep.
during pregame and hype everybody up. Oh man, just everything about it, brings back those childhood memories in me. It's nostalgic.
Yeah. Spike was a very loved mascot, and like you said, I think everyone kind of knows him for that ATV riding around and him almost wiping out going around a corner of the field because he'd be revving that thing pretty fast. So
Oh,
for
exactly.
sure.
The Kenan Center in Lockport, I've got to tell you, I grew up in Lockport, born and raised, and it was where my soccer journey really began. I started playing in a clinic there when I was 5 or 6 years old. Ended up doing Lockport Lightning all the way through high school, and then obviously rec at the Kenan Center all throughout high school as well. And it's a big part of it's a big part of my childhood, and I have fond memories of this building here. And I know they're building the new one. If you drive down Beatty Ave in Lockport, you can see they're obviously building the new Civic Arena. Here is a rendering of that arena right there. To me, it's bittersweet because I hate to see that they're gonna tear that one down once the new Civic Arena is built. Now, is that slated for October, or is that just kind of an estimated time frame for that, or?
Yeah, it's looking to be the fall. I've heard October is their target date for the switchover. But yeah,
Okay.
the new arena looks. I mean, it looks fantastic. A lot of state of the art. It's going to have an open soccer field, multiple
Mm-hmm.
basketball courts, which is something they don't have now. So, I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of just a community building, yeah, it's going to be great. No doubt about it. It's just for indoor soccer lovers. It the original boarded field that everyone knew and loved is going away, which quite honestly I think was one of the last remaining, if not the last remaining, true arena boarded field there was in Buffalo. So, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
the Gunners got the news and it hit pretty hard because I think, the teams worked hard to build up what they have, and just that doubt in your mind creeps in going, is this all for nothing? But
Mm-hmm.
they're working really hard behind the scenes to really drive home that they want indoor soccer to stay. And they also just introduced a really cool academy program that they're going to be starting where, people are familiar with the Western New York Flash, the Buffalo Stallions, Buffalo Pro. What's unique about the Gunners is they actually want to create kind of a two pathway system, and one is teaching the indoor game, which is going to be something truly unique in this area to have kids. They're looking at ages 10 through 19 actually start learning the indoor game specifically and sort of the pathways to being better indoor soccer players and the directions that can take them, and not just the outdoor game.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, I think the indoor component with the boards is an underutilized positive attribute for training youth soccer players nowadays. I remember obviously growing up in that original Kenan Center arena, pulling Kenan moves. That was what we called it, Kenan move, where you basically passed it to yourself along the boards to get it around an opponent. I remember Sportsplex even had the boards up, maybe until like a couple years ago, I believe. They took them down, and now they got the open concept there. So you're right. It really has dried up. The boards have dried up here in Western New York, and I think it's kind of a shame because I think in some respects there's an advantage because you get that
Yeah.
appeal of knowing how to get around your opponent and where is that ball going to bounce off the boards.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that is kind of unfortunate is a lot of it comes down to the safety of the kids as
Ah.
well as it's more costly to have maintenance of the boards, to be honest. And
Mm.
you're getting a lot of these facilities now, trying to do the right thing, keeping everybody safe, which is understandable. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the indoor game, I mean, for me, kind of guided my career, what in my soccer, because that's what I really grew up on. But I think it just created that full year soccer calendar in Buffalo that
Yeah.
couldn't exist prior. And I think that's where it kind of launch padded soccer in the area because you could play outdoor, starting in, April, May, play that through the fall, and then you had the indoor game as your winter training, or if you were in a high league. So yeah, I mean, I played at Sportsplex. I didn't play at Kenan too much growing up.
Hmm.
Although I'm sure I probably played against your Kenan teams at
Sure.
some point. We probably crossed paths in our younger days and never
Oh, I'm sure we did.
knew. But yeah, I mean, just the indoor game, unfortunately, a lot of things came into play that kind of disrupted it. A lot of people don't know when the Blizzard were around. In 1996 is when Major League Soccer outdoors started, and actually there were
Right.
quite a number of NPSL players that were drafted on those MLS teams, and it took them away from the indoor game because the MLS literally was like a 3/4 year round thing, and it was their full time, shift that they made. So really, it was like the late 1990s and then into 2000s. Indoor soccer really started to kind of fall apart.
Hmm.
There was kind of an identity crisis. You had different people trying to make the game be played in different ways. Um, like if you do remember the NPSL days, you had the multi-scoring system, so you could have 3-point goals if it was basically outside of like a basketball 3-point line.
That's
You
right.
had 2-point goals, and there was a group that loved that, and then you had other leagues that went back to the standard traditional everything's 1 point. So you had a lot of different opinions on what the out or excuse me what the indoor game should be. And in the 2000s, like you were talking about earlier, futsal is sort of a little bit different sport. It's indoor, but it's more of like a gym surface.
Hmm.
That concept kind of started taking off a little bit, and you really saw indoor kind of have an identity crisis, to be honest. And I don't think you had people quite sure on how to market it, how to get these guys out there in the public. And actually, obviously COVID played a role in sports everywhere. But
Yeah.
the good thing is I think you're seeing a lot of people that were involved in those, early indoor soccer days, whether it was like the MISO with the Stallions or the NPSL with the Blizzard. You're seeing those players or managers kind of now in, adult um, professional roles where now they're wanting to kind of take what they started and almost, get back into it. And, thankfully there's still some, you know, familiar names out there that were part of those leagues that are still involved with the indoor soccer game today. I can just name a few that you might know is
Yeah.
the former Buffalo Blizzard goalkeeper Jamie Swanner. He's still
Oh,
the
yeah.
active general manager of the St. Louis squad. You had Cleveland Crunches player Tommy Tanner. He's the general manager of the Utica indoor team, and he's actually now the interim head coach as of about a month ago. So there's
Wow.
names from those past leagues that thankfully are making a push to bring the game back, and it's
Yeah.
slowly getting there. It's gonna take time, but yeah, I mean the indoor game to me, I could talk about it for hours because I
Yeah.
grew up on it, love it, and that. But as far as the Gunners go, and as far as indoor soccer goes, I mean,
Hmm.
really, I think Buffalo's got a history, and it went away for a while. But I still think there's this underlying like passion for it, and I think the Gunners hopefully will kind of bring that back.
What's coming up next for the Buffalo Soccer Alliance? Obviously, we're approaching April now.
Yeah.
People are getting outside and playing outdoor soccer.
I mean, to be honest, we just try to stay on top of all the news that we can gather. Um, you know, Spring, we do have some teams in outdoors starting up soon. The Buffalo Stallions premier team. We have Niagara 1812 in that same league.
Hmm.
They're kind of rivals, but we kind of cover both of them. We have FC Buffalo that starts up. And there's also some other teams that people don't really know about too much. We have some UPSL teams that are more city based. Um, they can use our page to kind of learn about them. The Gunners also host a monthly adult league soccer tournament that they play up at Garden Academy. They just had one this weekend, so we just made a post One of the local clubs, the Hornbills, won that, so it gave them a little
Mhm.
bit of exposure. So we just try to cover everything. Obviously, indoor soccer when it's played is more winter, so we can start to shift more on the outdoor teams and giving them a little more attention. And like you said, USL Buffalo, I'm a keyboard click away from typing an article or summarizing something that gets out there. I think we're all really excited. I think we're all really anxious. Um, I've met Pete Marlette, and we've had several discussions too, and I'm on board for helping him promote any way possible. And I know fans are excited about what's been out there already. Basically a second level pro team. We're talking a stadium, you know, fitting 10,000 people. So it's super exciting stuff. And, we're kind of in that, whatever, gray space of news with them. But, you
Right,
know,
right.
the second something comes out, both you and I are ready to jump on it to talk about it.
Oh, for sure. And hey, anyone that's willing to get together and talk about soccer in Western New York is on my team. And for everyone out there, this is not going to be the last time that you see Adam. We're going to work together. We're going to do some videos. And Adam, I love how you're getting the news out there about soccer in Western New York.
No problem. And like I said, I found you from one of the videos you did. So for people who don't know, like just within the last couple of weeks, we've been shooting emails back and forth and gotten connected pretty quick. So I think between the both of us, you doing video, me doing some writing, it's good stuff.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Thank you once again, Adam. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.